Killer Be Killed here, bringing you another deck building guide. Right now we're going to look at my Obedient Dead deck. This is one of the top tier decks in the game. Definitely top 2 with goblins, I'd say. Has a lot of removal, a lot of heavy creature bombs, has life gain, direct damage to the face, a lot of control, board clearing, all sorts of stuff in this deck. Lots and lots of big bombs you drop at the end. So let's take a look at the deck and see what we got here. First choice is, do I want a Fume Spitter or a Crippling Blight? I like the Fume Spitter better because essentially it can do a little needling damage in the beginning of the game, and it also prevents people from casting things like Soul Wardings and other creatures like that. So that needling damage could win you a game in the long run, or keeping the board clear for a turn or two. So Fume Spitter seems to be a better card. Innocent Blood, obviously, just making your enemy lose a creature earlier in the game for 1 mana each. You just usually cast it when you don't have one out, or when it's an opportune time for you. You can kill something small and they have something big. Myers Troll is actually a great card. You can use it to basically see your opponent's entire hand, or you could even use it on yourself and throw a Grave Titan away early in the game and rise it from the grave. If you have a Medallion out, you could have a Grave Titan out as early as turn 5. So I mean, it's a pretty sweet card. Actually, turn 4, rise from the grave on turn 4 with a Medallion out. You could have a Grave Titan out there. Pretty sweet card. And better than that, you get to see your opponent's hand and throw away one of their dangerous cards, whether it's a Panoptic Mirror or anything you want. So it gives you a huge edge. We run the Medallions in this deck because the mana curve is pretty high. Lots of heavy drops in this. Six plus drops are heavy there. Definitely, Sign in Blood's good because we are running a high mana curve here. We want to be able to give ourselves some extra cards, get a little card advantage. And then Tugo Shade, we just saw, that's a great card. It's basically a pump. It's a 2/2 or 2/1, whatever it is. And when you have mana on the table, you can just keep pumping it up. You can make it a 7/6, an 8/7, whatever it is you have. So it's a card you want to include in your deck. Infest. Great against Weenie Rush decks like Gaggro Peacekeeper builds. You can just clear out quite a few creatures right off the battlefield with that. Slows the enemy down. Exalted deck if they have a bunch of little creatures out there. Even the Life deck. Knights of Meadowgrain. Soul Wardens. It gets rid of them all. So that's a pretty good removal card. Liliana Spectre, this kind of you choose from this card and the Dread Warlock as my 3-drop. Which one do I want to put in? But I like the Liliana Spectre better because anytime I have to discard a card from my hand, when I look at my hand and I'm like, alright, this is my plan, I'm going to do this, and then I have to throw one of my cards away, I'm like furious. I hate it. So I think it must bother my opponents just as much as it bothers me. So sometimes it can really mess up your entire hand. Plus it's a flyer, so a little flyer protection's not too bad. Vampire Nighthawk, well this guy only has flying, death touch, and lifelink, so I guess he's an auto include. You saw we keep the 4 murders in there because murders, well, they're very, very good cards. They're instants. Diabolic Tutor, obviously anytime you have a chance to run through your deck and pull any card you want out, you want to keep that card in your deck, so. You can use him to grab a Runescar Demon, and that allows you to actually grab another card. Or if you want a Massacre Worm if the enemy has a lot of little creatures out, or a Corrupt if you need life or something. So it's a beneficial card. The 4 Liliana Shades, we are running them simply for the fact that 1, they give us swamps, which allows us to drop our bombs because we do have a lot of heavy high mana cards in here, and we want to also filter out our deck a little bit because we have the 2 Medallions and the 25 lands in a 60 card deck. So we want to thin out the lands for later in the game. We don't want to keep drawing lands. So Liliana helps for that. And also the pump. The pump is great on that. So pump that creature up. Great stall in the mid game. Mutilate's a great card. Simply, it's a board clear. You got 6 swamps out there. Anything with health 6 or less is dying. So again, it's a sweeper. Necrotal is a great card unless you're in a mirror match with Liliana. But other than that, the first strike is really, really good. Anything with a health of 2 or less is basically dying and you're living. And it comes with a murder card to boot. So the Phyrexian Obliterated, obviously this is a great card for 4 mana. Wow. Got Trample, and anything that blocks it, basically they lose that many permanents. So if it's blocked by a 3/3, their creature dies, you still get 2 trample damage through, and they have to give up 3 permanents, whether lands, medallions, or creatures. So that's an amazing card. You could block it with like a Death Touch, and only sacrifice one permanent. I think that's a little known fact of the game, so just something to think about because the first damage of Death Touch gets rid of it. Tendrils of Corruption, that's just a murder card pumped up with some life gain. That's actually pretty good for how many swamps you got. We keep one Rise from the Grave in case we want to do that Myra's Troll trick we talked about earlier. If one of our creatures dies, or if one of our many removal cards actually kills something big from the enemy, we can grab it and use it against them. Corrupt, this is kind of a game finisher. Or you could actually use it to kill a creature if need be, but usually I would do the burn directly to the face with this and gain a little life. You know, by the time you cast it, it's already a 12 life swing. You gotta have 6 mana to do it, so 6 to their face, you gain 6. It's pretty good. Dread obviously comes with Fair, so has a lot of evasiveness there. And also it comes with like a No Mercy enchantment. Whenever a creature deals damage, you destroy it. So if you're getting attacked by creatures and you have Dread on the board, those creatures die. You don't even have to block them. You'll lose a little life, but they will essentially die, and then you can swing in unimpeded because they use your creature. They have no blockers. Grave Titan, obviously an amazing card. If this card stays on the board 1 or 2 turns and 1v1, you pretty much won the game. Comes with 2 black zombie creature tokens, and every time you swing you get 2 more, so it's a pretty powerful card. It has Death Touch. Massacre Worm, obviously anything on the battlefield is losing with less than 2 health is dying, and the enemy's losing 2 life per creature they lose. This is a great card. You always want to include this in your deck. The effect also happens 4 turns later with the Massacre Worm still on the board. Anytime a creature dies, the enemy loses 2 life for that. It's not just when you cast it in. So, Runescar Demon, this is one of my favorite cards in the deck. Simply because it comes with like a demonic or diabolic tutor. Whenever if I'm stealing a creature using the blue deck, I'm always looking for a Runescar Demon from the grave if I'm grave robbing, just because then I could hit my library for any card I want, so it actually works just the same here. Plague Wind, a little expensive for me, 9 mana. Obviously, if you get that out, the game's pretty much going to be over. I was actually killed by a Plague Wind one game. I was like, there's no way I could lose this game. I was so happy. I had Chancellor out and I was cloning it next turn, and just all of a sudden, wow, Plague Wind. But too expensive for me in 1v1. The Demon, this is not a bad card, but at 8 mana, it's a little costly in 1v1 for me. Unless you're using that Myra's Troll Rise from the Grave trick, it just seems a little expensive. Griselband, another great card. I might actually put one of these 8-drop cards in, just as another finisher. Avatar of Woe. If I were playing Two-Headed Giant, and I knew there were going to be 10 creature cards in the graveyards, or if someone was milling, my teammate was milling, this card's amazing because you can cast it for 2 mana. But generally, you're never going to be able to cast this for 2 mana, so it's a little overpriced. As far as the 8-drops go, I'd probably go with a Griselband. So I may actually put that in as a 61st card fluffer. Phage, I don't like Phage because for 8 mana, it's just a 4/4 body. Yeah, if you attack with her, they automatically lose the game, but it's very, very situational. People are going to do everything in their power to block Phage, to block her over any other creature, so the effect is too situational for me. The Gorgon's actually a really, really good card, and I could consider putting him in as the 61st instead of one of the 8-drops because it has Death Touch, so anything it blocks, it's pretty much killing, and if the attacker doesn't have, you know, a strength of 6, then I'm gonna live, and each turn I can actually petrify something and make it a defender. So, and they lose their abilities. So, it's actually a pretty sweet card. It's underrated. A lot of people look at it like, it's not that good. But for 6 mana compared to an 8 mana card, it does give you a lot of value, and you can get it out a little earlier. So. Public Execution, that's just an overcosted murder card. It might save you a little damage one turn, but I couldn't see putting a murder card in for 6 mana without. It's like at least with Corrupt you gain 6 life, but with that, just not working. Hellcarver Demon, you know, he's great in theory, but once you use him and you sacrifice all your permanents and someone hits him with a murder or an enchantment, now you're sitting there with an empty board and they have 8 mana or whatever, the game's not looking too good for you, so generally try to stay away from that card. The Ghoul seems nice because every time you get a swamp he comes back, but I mean you have to spend 5 mana to recast them, so that's why I don't include them. It's just not worth 5 mana at a 4/1 body. There's way too many other options in this deck. Befile is something to consider keeping when the new decks come out, when the expansion comes out, because there's going to be a lot of multicolored decks and you can destroy land with this. So basically destroying land, if one person only has like 1 blue mana and they're running a black and blue deck or whatever the colors are, you know, you might want to destroy that land, so you kind of cripple half their spells. So something to think about in the future. I'm definitely going to have to make room for that when the new decks do come out, though I'll probably be using the new decks like everybody else. So again, this deck, you know, you just want to stall and control the board. You have a lot of removal, a lot of mass removal. You have card draw. You can get card advantage with the